And welcome everyone across the state of Oklahoma to Oklahoma Sportscene, presented by Jimmy's Egg. And we're at the Jimmy's Egg at 71st and Garnett here in Tulsa, where they tell you it is better to give and receive with their gift card, right, Coach?
Well, I'm telling you, this gift card, and I'm going to get one of these cinnamon rolls, I guarantee, before this show's over today.
Got a big show for you today. I tell you, we have Scott Wells, the general manager, president of Remington Park. They just closed their thoroughbred meet. We'll be talking to him about the thoroughbred meet and looking ahead to their next meet with the quarter horses coming to Oklahoma City in March. We got the new Tulsa Roughnecks president and their new head coach with us. Tulsa Oilers hockey, John Peterson, to talk about the Oilers. You got some friends coming over from the Mabee Center and talk about the tournament.
Tony Winters, who is the general manager of the Mabee Center, and of course, an award-winning soccer player during his days at ORU, will come and talk about all the things that go on at the Mabee Center. And then Mick Wilson, who's on our staff at the Tulsa Public Schools as the assistant athletic director, but is the tournament director for the 54th annual Tournament of Champions, will give us a rundown on the teams and what to look for.
And J.B. Heaney, by the way, along with Charles, are one of the originals, the very first Tournament of Champions a few years back, right, Coach?
That's right, and I'm sure that when Mick Wilson comes aboard, we'll be talking about that. But what was it, 1966, the spring of 1966, it was held at Memorial High School. I was coaching at Seminole, and we come in and we play a little team down south of Tulsa. They beat us. And we were ranked, I don't know, probably 4th or 5th in the state in Class A, but that set it off, and then Inola wins it, right. And that's what really set it off.
Well, the legacy that you left by losing that first game, having the small school beat the big school.
Nice job, Coach.
That's true. That's when I came to Tulsa.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Roundtable time discussion, some of the hot topics, I guess. Some of the star players skipping the bowl games, including for Oklahoma State, their running back Justice Hill, the former Tulsa Booker T kid, and also their lineman Larry Williams is not going to play in the bowls.
You know, it was interesting. I had a phone call yesterday from one of my friends, and one of his friends wanted the address and who to contact at the NCAA. He was upset about that. And I said, well, let me tell you, that's an institutional thing.
Right.
It's up to each institution. The NCAA really has nothing to do with the bowl games or regular season games. What the NCAA does is they sponsor championships. They don't sponsor the Division 1A championship.
Oh, that's right,
it is not an NCAA event. It's the bowl championship. And but he's going to write the letter anyway because he's upset. And I told him if I was the head coach, we would have had an understanding. You're either going to finish the season or you'll get out of the dorm today.
How about you? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you know, I see both sides of it. You take a look at it as a player, and you go 6-6 and you finish under 500 in your conference, and then you go to a bowl game, and it's on the day after or the day before Christmas. Come on. I don't know where I'd want to go or not. And I understand.
Look at the quarterback, though, from West Virginia.
Yeah, Will Greer.
They were in it right till the end, and they get beat, and now he's decided, I think selfishly, I'm going to take care of me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Well, the Big 12 starts off the bowl season on the day after Christmas, December 26th, with TCU 6-6 against California, and continues on, of course, right through the national semifinals. Oklahoma in the semifinals against Alabama on the 29th. Of course, Clemson and Notre Dame play the other semifinal. And the big championship game, January 7th. Coach, what do you think? Oh, you're going to get there finally?
Well, I would like to see that. I know, we know that the record versus Alabama with Oklahoma is 4-0 Oklahoma.
That's right. People forget about that.
So, if history speaks for itself, unfortunately, it probably would be time for a loss, because we've won 4 in a row. However, I really think Alabama is going to be challenged because they're going to have some things that they haven't seen in the SEC. It's a power run game, the run and pass type thing. And with Oklahoma's offense, it's so diverse that it really puts pressure on the defense. But the key to the game is whether or not Hollywood Brown is available. If he's not available, I think takes completely away from their passing game. There's no question.
Coach, your thoughts on their game?
Well, the more I think about this, I go back and think about the number of times that when you win as much as Alabama has won, a loss is going to come. And sometimes your kids will be playing as hard as they can play, but it just won't come out for them on the winning side. And I just feel like that Oklahoma, regardless of their defense, they still won.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got a bad defense, that's okay if you win, and they were winning. So I don't know. And it's not because I'm an OU fan.
Yeah.
But I really believe that OU is going to walk away with the win.
I think they got a good chance. And I think and the thing about it in the other game,
Clemson,
I don't
Notre
think it's going to
Dame.
be close.
Yeah.
I think Clemson will just annihilate
I know.
Notre Dame.
My Christmas wish is Oklahoma Notre Dame in the national championship. Would that be a classic or what, huh?
Well, they might
Wow.
play the runner-up game.
Hey, our Cowboys, Oklahoma State, of course, will play New Year's Eve. They're down at the Liberty Bowl in Memphis. Good matchup for the Cowboys. My alma mater, Mizzou.
Another SEC Big 12 match.
That's right, yeah.
Outstanding, I think, and we can gauge where we are. Everybody wants to compare with what the SEC is because it has been the standard in football. So it'll be interesting to see how the Cowboys play.
Coach Gundy, kind of pretty much, he's not supportive of the players leaving, but he kind of had to back his kids. But I think it's tough for Coach Gundy to see these guys walk out on their team before their last game.
You know, how would you react to that if you were coaching?
Oh, I hate to think of Gil here.
You know, I know how you would, but at the same time, I can understand it for the simple reason that if those players really feel like they've got an opportunity to go professional, make some big bucks, do as they please.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's tough.
The only thing about it, JV, that I think that comes into play, and the only reason I would have any second thoughts about my philosophy, is that we all know when you play football, you're one play away from being finished forever.
Yeah.
You get that devastating
I know.
injury,
Yeah.
and you are done.
Yes.
And if you have the opportunity to sign a rookie contract for $10 million, $8 million,
Yeah.
whatever it is, and you go down and you can't go to the combine and they can't evaluate you, then you've thrown it away for a game really that means nothing. Because other than the championship series, other games they just play. They get 3 extra weeks of practice, which is good with the young kids, the freshmen, the red shirts. But it doesn't really mean a lot.
Well, don't you think it would be something to think about that if you don't finish above 500 in your conference, you have no business going to a bowl game?
I think so. I think what we need to do is put
40
the
bowl
pressure
games,
on the NCAA for not sanctioning 40 bowl games.
I know, it's crazy.
Why in the world would they say? Because they have to be sanctioned to play in them. Okay, so all they got to do is say, okay, we're only going to pick 30 this year, or we're only going to pick 25 this year.
We're going to be talking also about early signing date coming this past Wednesday, December 19th. We'll kind of recap recruiting on our next show coming up. We also want to look towards basketball. We had a big basketball game in Tulsa this past weekend as Oklahoma made the trip to take on USC. And our guys were there. Thomas Walking Stick was there to cover the action here. Let's take a look at some of the Boomer Sooner time in Tulsa.
Like where we are as a starting point. You know, every game you just want to improve a little bit. I think that's what this group has done. They've really learned something, taken something from every game. And I think the best part about this group, they practice well. You know, they're really engaged. They really understand what we have to still work on to get better. And I think that's why they'll keep improving. Unlike this group, where they're at as a starting point, and more importantly, the fact that they understand we've got to get better.
The Sooners, by the way, will be playing at Northwestern December 21st. They open Big 12 play January the 2nd at Kansas.
Oh, my goodness.
Big game coming up in the city, though, Coach, December 22nd, the Mayor's Cup at Old Roberts.
You know, it's always a big game, and the Mayor's Cup has really been something that's been good for local universities to participate in annually. And you know, you really never know who may win that basketball game.
No, the one that normally is favored doesn't. But I really believe TU is coming. They really are playing well.
They've really played well. The last 2 weeks have really well.
And they've got some shooters on there that can hit that three-pointer.
Like I say, they're leading the Big 12. They're 2-0 in the Big 12.
That's right. Yeah. Beat Oklahoma State and Kansas State back-to-back.
Back-to-back.
Frank Haith's best start so far, Coach. A 9-3 record heading into that Mayor's Cup on December 22nd against Oral Roberts.
Well, that again is a situation where you can't tell who's going to win it because the record means nothing. Whatever they show up, I've seen Oral Roberts win when they shouldn't. I've seen TU win when they shouldn't. Flip a coin.
Well, get out and support both teams in the Mayor's Cup, December 22nd, the game at the ORU Roberts Mabee Center. We'll be back with a special recap of the Remington Park Thoroughbred racing season with their president, General Manager Scott Wells. Stay with us on Oklahoma Sportscene.
Welcome to Jimmy's Egg. Come on in.
For more than 30 years, Jimmy's Egg has been starting people's day off right with hot, fresh, made-to-order food. Our eggs are fresh, cracked to order every time, and there are over 40,000 ways to craft your own omelet. With signature favorites like our meat lover skillet or decadent cinnamon roll pancakes, you won't leave hungry. Breakfast and lunch is available every day from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., so stop in today and let our friendly staff serve you.
Stop by and see us sometime.
Oklahoma Sportscene wants to welcome our newest title sponsor, SNB Burger Joints, the home of fresh-made gourmet burgers and sliders, great sides, hand-dipped milkshakes, root beer and soda floats, and delicious homemade pies. All served with a fun and friendly staff, and we feature a full-service bar with over 65 beers and our unique Bloody Marys. SNB Burger Joint in the Oklahoma City area and coming soon to Tulsa.
3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock. 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, rock. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight.
Remington Park is now officially open around the clock. That's right, we are 24/7.
We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. We're gonna rock till broad daylight. Gonna rock around the clock tonight.
So when we say the party never ends, you better believe it. Remington Park, now open 24/7.
Andy, welcome you back inside Jimmy's Egg here in Tulsa 71st and Garnett. Coming all the way over from Oklahoma City with us on Oklahoma Sportscene. One of our great sponsors as well. Of course, you always know about our Remington Report. Here's Scott Wells, the president and general manager, just wrapping up the season. And what better way to start your day off on vacation than getting up at 5 in the morning, coming over to Tulsa, huh?
Well, I could take a hearty breakfast this morning.
You know about
it was
that.
a long night last night.
Congratulations. Tell us about another very successful season of racing. Your 30th at Remington Park, big anniversary year.
It was the culminating live racing night of our 30th year, and a lot of fond memories. People tend to bring those up, you know, when you have those anniversaries. But last night was just a spectacular success, as you know, because you were there to witness it.
Yeah.
And we saw some horses that are hoping for the Kentucky Derby, and some very promising prospects.
Great stakes program, too. A lot of money last night.
Yeah, it sure was. That was culminated, of course, with the $400,000 Springboard Mile, which is the last 2-year-old race for these horses that are springboarding into their 3-year-old season and going on the Classics Trail.
Steve Asmussen, the Hall of Fame trainer, always a big presence at Remington, and he needed, a couple wins to break the all-time season record. He ended, I think, with 100, and he won, 5 races on the card?
Right.
So he now has the all-time record there, and it was his 5th Springboard Mile win. Let's take a look at some of the action of the Springboard Mile. It's called by our friend Dale Day.
A herd coming off the turn to the top of the stretch in the springboard. Dumpf is outside between runners Dobbins G. Inside Marquis Prince fading a bit. And here comes Long Range Toddy breaking out of traffic and gunning for the front. Long Range Toddy grabs the lead inside the furlong pole. Long Range Toddy, the Clever Trevor winner, is pouring it on. Bankit rolling after Long Range Toddy. Long Range Toddy needs a line, and Long Range Toddy gets it by a head to win the springboard mile over Bankit.
A long shot from Steve Asmussen's barn. Won the race at 18-1. Long Range Toddy picked up 10 big points for the Kentucky Derby.
Well, and the surprising thing was he had won the Clever Trevor stakes just before that, and he was 18-1. It was unfathomable.
Yeah.
And jockey Richard Arami, a guy who came from Uruguay to ride in the United States and has become one of our leading riders. Richard put a beautiful ride on him and got him up in time to score a big upset victory.
We were there with Lee Levinson, the Tulsa attorney, who got a point that way, finished 4th.
He did. Steve had 3 of the top 4 finishers, and all of those top 4 finishers got points toward eligibility for the Kentucky Derby.
Tone broken. You guys, of course, have been in Remington several times, not just the racing, but also great casino action as well.
Tremendous casino action. But, Scott, tell us, you had the fall meet this year. How successful was that?
We set records in every department. Our live handle was up 8%. Our simulcast export, the people watching and betting on the races around the country, was up 27%. So that's on top of some previous years where we've had good growth. So nationwide, bettors are really noticing Remington Park and the quality of racing we have.
JB, you enjoy the horses?
Well, what's going through my mind is the quarter horses. Now, you have more or less taken control in the nation of the best quarter horse racing. Don't you beat New Mexico now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and Oklahoma has always been, even in New Mexico and California, the Oklahoma-bred horses are always dominant. And Oklahoma is to quarter horse racing what Kentucky is to thoroughbred racing. And Remington Park, being in the center of Oklahoma, is a natural place to run them. And we've had a lot of legendary horses race there.
I can well imagine that.
You got a bit of a break now. Talk about the season coming up there with quarter horses, paints, and Appaloosas racing.
Right. We won't begin live racing until March 9th.
Right.
We'll have a lot of training races in February leading up to that to let the recruiters and the bettors see who the top prospects are. But we kick off March 9th, and we'll have the tournament. We'll culminate on June 1st with the Heritage Place Futurity, which, as you know, is $1 million plus race.
That's right, yeah. We were in there in the paddock last night waiting for the riders, jockeys to come up. All of a sudden I hear a familiar voice calling riders up. Turn around, there's Toby Keith in his stocking cap there in the paddock.
Right, Toby's a big horse owner and breeder and has
won a race earlier in the night.
He did. He won the second race and ran second in the Trapeze Stakes for fillies. So he had a big night with his horses, and we had the NBC Sports crew there filming a feature on the Road to the Kentucky Derby, which they are going to be showing in April.
Very good.
And Toby cooperated with them and sort of gave them the insight. And today they're going to his fabulous farm there in Norman.
Right.
And going to do some stuff out there.
I know. Besides horse racing, he loves the Sooners too. He talked about OU and getting ready to go to the Orange Bowl, I guess, too, right?
He was wound up. He's ready for this Orange Bowl.
You're going to talk about kind of the divided house. A lot of pressure on your lovely wife, Mellon. She's an Alabama girl, right?
Yeah, she's. We both love crimson, but it's
crimson and white, crimson and cream.
Clash of the crimsons. Yeah, I'm a big OU fan, and we may have to have a true house divided that day.
There we go.
Well, before you open the next meet on March 9th, tell me what's happening at Remington Park. Anything new being planned, or what's going on with the staff and everybody there?
Well, it's with the casino operating 365 days a year. Building marketing plans. We do millions of dollars worth of improvements every year, physical improvements. Right. And so we'll be focusing on things like that. And it just seems people think that because our races are seasonal, that our work is seasonal.
Yeah,
and it's just not that way. Yeah. It's pretty steady throughout the year.
We can much appreciated Dale Day and the job he's done with Remington Reports has really helped us on the show here.
You know, he is so good, and a lot of people don't realize how difficult that is.
Oh, yeah.
But my goodness, I've seen horse races since I was knee-high, and I can call them and just embarrass myself in the privacy of my own home, calling replays that I've already seen. So that's how tough it is, and Dale's just masterful at it.
No, he does a great job with that, too. And talking, about, I'm always impressed with the type of horsemen you get there. Some of the top jockeys come in there and stuff. I know Bob Baffert had a horse originally nominated for the race, too.
Right. We had Javier Castellano, multiple Eclipse Award winner and Hall of Famer there last night. And, of course, we take Steve Asmussen for granted. He won his first training title ever at Remington Park back in about 91 or 92. And now he's won more than 8,500 races. He's the leading living winner, all-time winningest trainer in North America.
Unbelievable.
Well, Scott, when we talk about a changing season from the fall season to the spring and summer season, are some of the owners the same? Are the jockeys the same? Or does that really change up with quarter horses?
There's not much crossover. Now, Toby Keith has some quarter horses and some thoroughbreds, but he's mainly focused on the thoroughbred. But there's very little crossover these days because it takes a specialized approach to raise those horses and bring them along the same way.
Right. Jockeys the same way?
Jockeys the same way. The sprinters are just a little different than the distance horses, and it's pretty much specialized by breed.
Got to be chaos there today. Horses shipping out, of course, getting ready to go. I assume most people are heading into New Orleans, getting ready for Oklahoma meet, which opens later this year at Oklahoma.
Right.
Yeah.
And there'll be a lot of horses going to Kentucky and Chicago, but mainly to Hot Springs. And
of course, Oklahoma, it's interesting, they've now delayed their start of the meet, which sounds like a smart idea. The January racing was tough there.
Yeah, I really am surprised they hadn't done it sooner. Now, as president general manager of Lone Star Park in Dallas, I'm not so wild about it because we're going to overlap them more. But you know, they're doing what their fans want, and why wouldn't they want to end their meet on Kentucky Derby Day?
That's right.
Everyone wants to have a big Kentucky Derby Day.
Got something for Scott here?
Nancy's got some food.
Nancy, come on out with us here. We have also something else we got.
All right.
Say hello to Nancy Smoot. She's our general manager here at this Jimmy's Egg here at 71st and Garnett.
Thank you, Nancy.
Nancy, what do we have here today?
We have bacon and scrambled eggs with the fruit cup and homemade bread.
And now the time, of course, for those holiday catering parties, right? You take care of that?
Absolutely. We'll cater any time of the day or night. If you need to feed a group of 10 or 100, we'll be more than happy to take care of you. Just give us a call here at Jimmy's Egg.
Takes great care of it. Nancy, thanks so much. Appreciate it. Well, enjoy it. Scott, also we have something else
next time you
can take Melanie.
There you go.
Take Melanie out to celebrate the OU victory over Alabama.
Serve her some sour grapes.
Exactly. There you go. Perfect. That's right. Scott Wells, President General Manager, Remington Park, with us today. Stay with us. More coming up on Oklahoma Sportscene. Enjoy that breakfast.
I will.
Welcome to Jimmy's Egg. Come on in.
For more than 30 years, Jimmy's Egg has been starting people's day off right with hot, fresh, made-to-order food. Our eggs are fresh, cracked to order every time, and there are over 40,000 ways to craft your own omelet. With signature favorites like our meat lovers skillet or decadent cinnamon roll pancakes, you won't leave hungry. Breakfast and lunch is available every day from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., so stop in today and let our friendly staff serve you.
Stop by and see us sometime.
At Bricktown Brewery, we're known for our famous original craft beers like Single String Stout and Bluesberry Ale. Did you know we also brew our own root beer at our Oklahoma City brewhouse? It's called Attaboy Root Beer, and you'll love it no matter what your age. Just ask for a Bricktown Kids menu with all the favorites for our guests 12 and under. Bricktown Brewery opens every day at 11 a.m.
Every minute, every day, and every night, there's someone who needs us. Every week and every year, we bring something new to the way we care for individuals and our communities. Every thought and every action is spent improving the way we imagine health and wellness. Because every child, every woman, and every man deserves the best possible life. St. Francis Health System. Healthcare for life.
Joining us now on our Oklahoma Sports Scene set here at Jimmy's Egg, 71st and Garnett in Tulsa. The new people of the Roughnecks. Well, one sort of new, but this one is special. This is Barry Williams. He is the new part owner and president of the Tulsa Roughnecks. Of course, you recognize this guy. So proud of him, right, Gil?
Our Booker T grad.
Michael.
Thank you.
Glad he got the head coaching job and made it official there. Got to catch up with you, Barry. Give us your background in Tulsa. I know you got a great love for soccer, and now really stepped up with the Roughnecks.
Yeah, I grew up here. I've been here since I was about 4 years old. Graduate of Jenks High School, and grew up wrestling, ironically. So wrestled in high school and college, and my love for the sport came later. All my kids play soccer, and I have 3 kids, and just super passionate for the game. Super excited to be a part of the opportunity with this franchise, and we're really excited for the upcoming season.
We were out with you at Soccer City when you made the announcement. Of course, made it official. Michael Nsien being now the full-time head coach. But also, boy, great enthusiasm there. I like the way you're also really playing a lot to the Hispanic community there, too. It's going to be a big part of the Roughnecks marketing this year.
Yeah, I think it really just the international community in Tulsa, and going to all the different societies. And but one of the greatest things about the sport is that it's an international sport. And you know, I think it's very important for us as an organization to engage all ethnicities within the city of Tulsa to try and bring that international collectivism to the games, right, and help that game day experience be that much more powerful. And the Hispanics are obviously extremely passionate about the sport of football, the sport of soccer, and so for us to engage that community is very important and needs to be something that we do consistently on a long-term basis.
You know, Barry, this is something that really comes out a lot in questions and answers for me. They talk about, I think all of us enjoy soccer. I do, even though I didn't grow up with it. But at the same time, is there any way in the future that they're going to increase the offense of soccer?
You know, that's probably a better question for Mike than it is for me, but yeah, I don't see that. I think you got to learn, you know, with the difference between soccer and maybe some of the other sports is it's 45 minutes of continuous play. that you don't have timeouts. And so the whole love of the game is the tactical part of the game, and understanding different, shifts and different formations cause, a reaction. So it's more chess than it is checkers out there. So a 1-0 game can be extremely exhilarating. It's not much like an 8-0 game, for example, would be pretty boring to the soccer aficionado. So,
well, in all of your meetings, does this come up very often?
In terms of the scoring?
Yeah.
I mean, we're always talking about offense. I mean, we're always trying to improve and get the best players we can on offense. But, I would say most coaches start their whole concept with defense. You can't, So, but yeah, we definitely come up. I think we talk about offense every single meeting. We want to make sure our players at the top can perform at a high level for sure.
Well, this may be a Michael question, Barry, but what we've seen, for instance, in the National Football League, the rules have changed to favor the offense. This used to be holding.
Yeah.
And now if it's inside the shoulder pads, it's not holding.
Right.
So I don't, in looking at soccer, I'm not sure there are any rules that could enhance offense. Do you think so?
I mean, I would say maybe offsides.
I hate that rule.
I know most people do.
The guy busts his butt to get an advantage, and the little guy pulls up and stops, and they run by. Oh, I hate the flag goes up.
Exactly.
I know it.
So maybe if they relax on that rule, which would totally change the game. So I don't.
Oh, man,
I never foresee that happening.
I've always thought, Michael, too. If you remember now, in football, you get 6 points in American football for a goal. Now, if you start putting soccer and put 6 points for each goal, that increases scoring pretty quick. But that's not the way of it. It's the beauty of the game. Is the build-up is what I find exciting. And talk about some of your strategy and what you plan to do with this team. I know, thanks to Barry and his associates, you're getting bigger budget, right? Going after some international players and stuff, which is obviously where it starts.
Yeah. Right now, we've made one announcement of a player. Actually, we announced an attacking player in AJ, who I've been a fan of for the last few years in this league. Very exciting, dynamic player. And I think with the right help around him, he's going to score a lot of goals and really electrify the crowd. Sure.
And you had so many. I tell you, this guy, the best non-loss record I've ever seen. A lot of draws this past season, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're on the cusp. I know anytime a new coach comes in, I think there's naturally a bump, and players want to perform for the new coach. Won the first game, obviously, and then the players kind of fell off a little bit, but obviously we need to bring in some maybe a little bit higher caliber player, and we go from there. But I think we expect those ties to become 3 points this coming year.
Talk about your staff now. I know you've added Wayne Farmer's your general manager. Talk about Wayne and some of your staff is with you now.
I think the thing from our standpoint on the administrative side as well as the coaching side is to make sure that we get guys that love the sport and love the game of soccer. Wayne is a kid that grew up in Wales, played soccer literally his entire life, has 2 or 3 caps for Wales in terms of playing for their national team, came over to the States and played at TU and ORU, and so I think our goal is to get people that understand the game all the way down to even our ticket staff that really understand the game and can communicate with the fan base, engage the fan base, even when they're buying the tickets all the way through. So our goal is to really have a very soccer-specific staff and really people that understand and love the game so that way it communicates to the fans.
Give us the key dates coming up, Barry, for the Roughnecks.
Sure. The players report, I believe, January 21st. So that'll be the first day where we kind of start with orientation. Our first game is March 9th against Portland. And so we play Portland Timbers at home on March 9th, which is a Saturday. Kickoff will be right around 7 o'clock. And so those will be the key dates that we're focused in on as an organization.
Well, I'll tell you this, looking forward, what do you hear about the soccer facility in downtown Tulsa?
So the stadium, commonly referred to as the OPC, is Outdoor Performance Center, is going to be, it's moving in the right direction. Yeah. So we have done a feasibility study with Crossroads, and it came back very positive to where we think we can get anywhere from 200,000 to 300,000 people there in addition to One Oak Stadium. We feel like that stadium would be designed a little bit differently to help ensure that we can get other sports out there like lacrosse, get some concerts out there. Many of the new stadiums that are designed for this have an opening or a concrete area where you're able to set up some more intricate and higher end outdoor concerts. So we're right now doing the feasibility, or finished the feasibility, but doing kind of like a site feasibility study now. where we got Populous, who is an architecture firm, kind of giving us some different ideas around the city, not just downtown, but around the city of Tulsa, to see what they feel like would be the best opportunities for that. But there's talks going on with the city, there's talks going on with the Stadium Trust, and there's talks going on even with other cities like Jinx and things like that.
Good. And so for the coach here and for Barry Williams, our Roughnecks president, and
we want to be our guest to go to Jimmy's Egg.
And for Coach Nsien, there you go, Coach. We'll have you back a lot during the season too to talk more soccer. Appreciate it. Right now, JB Haney's going to bring an update on the Greater Tulsa Reporter about his favorite topic, GTR. Go ahead, Coach.
You're absolutely right. It's always a pleasure to talk about Forrest Cameron and his wife Sharon, and they put out 6 GTR magazines in the metropolitan Tulsa. Now, if you want to know what's going on in politics, if you want to know what's going on in sports, and really especially in sports, because they've got Terrell Lester, they've got Glenn Hibden, they've got Mike Moglen. Now, those are 3 real good sports writers. Now, others are the same. So we encourage you, pick up a GTR. You won't be disappointed at all.
Great news. Primo Mitsubishi is again #1 in sales in Oklahoma. I've made some key changes. Next time you come in, you'll see some very familiar faces. Mitsubishi has increased discounts on all 2018 Mitsubishis. Save up to $3,000 on the all-new Eclipse Cross and up to $4,000 on other models. All Mitsubishis come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Come see us at Primo Mitsubishi, 15309 South Memorial, or on the web at primomitsubishi.com.
Oklahoma Sportscene wants to welcome our newest title sponsor, SNB Burger Joints, the home of fresh-made gourmet burgers and sliders, great sides, hand-dipped milkshakes, root beer and soda floats, and delicious homemade pies. All served with a fun and friendly staff, and we feature a full-service bar with over 65 beers and our unique Bloody Marys. SNB Burger Joint in the Oklahoma City area and coming soon to Tulsa. Time to switch to the ice now. Hockey, Tulsa Oilers update. To join us is John Peterson, the Vice President of Communications and the voice of the Oilers. John, welcome back. It's been a long, tough road trip for the team.
Oh, man, it's good to be back home. I can tell you that much. Right before the holidays to come home from such a tough trip. Obviously, we would have liked to have picked up a few more wins on the trip. I think we learned a lot about ourselves, and luckily we got kind of this mini slump out of the way early in the season rather than right before playoffs. So good to be home.
How does the scheduling go? I know you opened with 8 home games, and then you go on the road for an extended period. Why is that? Because of facility availability?
Yes, usually it flip-flops every year, and it has to do with the availability at the BOK Center. We'll give them a certain amount of dates back in the summertime of what we would like, and then they can kind of fill those with what's available when they don't have concerts or other events booked. It's kind of a little bit of give and take. And so usually what we'll see is either a long stretch at home to start the year, and then we go on the road for a long period of time, or it's the opposite where we're not home hardly at all in the first month or two, and we come home and play a lot of games the second half.
And when you play out like that, do you stay out or do you come back?
Yeah, if we're like this last trip, we were gone for 10 or 11 days straight. If we're playing some teams that are closer, typically we'll come home in between, which is nice to at least sleep in your own bed and then go back out on the road again. This last one, it was fast and furious, 6 games in 9 days, and we were gone for 11. So it's tough.
Yeah.
Well, do other teams in the league have that same sort of schedule, or is it just you?
The teams that are way out in the middle of nowhere, like from a standpoint of a high concentration of teams out on the East Coast, they probably don't have schedules that difficult. Teams like the Idaho Steelheads, who are up in Boise, teams like Utah and Salt Lake City, us, we're so far away from everybody else that when we go on a long trip like that, we have to be away for a while. It makes it a lot easier to hit a lot of different locations in one trip.
Heading to Kansas City Friday, the record I had was 13-8-4-2, 32 points. Still right up there in the Mountain Division, though.
Yeah, that's the positive, I guess, is even in a little losing streak here in December, everybody else is kind of going through their own bumps in the road. So for us, we're right there at the top of the division still. It's kind of a log jam now with 5 teams within 4 points of each other, the top of the division. But we're in second, and this team's good enough to snap out of it and stay in that position and have a really strong finish. So
how are you as far as injuries are concerned?
Injuries isn't so bad right now. The call-ups to our affiliates, that's kind of what's hurt us a little bit. We've had 4 or 5 players get called up to the next level, which is great. That's part of the game, being a AA affiliate, seeing players develop and move up. But usually you see some of those guys come back, and we expect to, which I think will be extremely helpful when those guys do return. But for the time being, you kind of have to find a way to get around it, and that's been a challenge a little bit.
Is that the American Hockey League?
Yes, yep. And San Antonio is our affiliate, and St. Louis is AHL team in San Antonio there.
Yeah.
Have you had any players that have really just done a lot better than you thought when they came in?
You know, we've had some players that I knew were going to be good for us and have strong years, but I never expected them to dominate like they have been. A guy that I can think of right off the bat is Ryan Nsien. He wears number 28 for us. He came in halfway through last season in a trade. We got him for virtually nothing in return. It was a steal, and he had a great year for us last year. We brought him back, and he's kind of more of a tough player that's kind of a physical player, grinds it out. He doesn't score a lot typically. Well, this year he's been one of our top scorers, and he's a player that's reached new heights this year, and I think he's got still a bright future, and he's in his 5th season as a pro. So he's one that's really stood out to me, and we've had a lot of rookies that haven't played like rookies, and I think that's important at this level. You can't really afford rookies to be rookies. You need them to learn quickly. And that's been a plus for us. A lot of young players have played like veterans.
Your netminder earned some honors too.
Yeah, our goaltender Devin Williams won Goalie of the Month in October, which was the 2nd straight year he won Goalie of the Month in October.
Wow.
And then in November, our other goalie, Evan Fitzpatrick, won Rookie of the Month in the entire league.
Jeez.
So the goalies got some accolades early. Evan's actually up in San Antonio right now. He's one of those players I was talking about. But Devin's got a really bright future. He's only 23 years old. And won a few awards, and he's a solid goaltender for sure.
Finally, have some home games to talk about. December 22nd, Kansas City comes to town. The 27th, Wichita. And again, Kansas City will come after that as well. So finally getting back on home ice. And I tell you, these Oiler fans are passionate hockey fans, aren't they?
They are, and they understand the history of this team in Tulsa. And I think for us to be gone for so long, they're excited to see us come back. This Saturday is against Kansas City, like you said. We're celebrating our 90th birthday of Tulsa Oilers hockey. I mean, this team started in 1928-29. We're celebrating that with retro jerseys from 1935 season. Really old jerseys, really cool looking, and that's kind of how we're coming back home, is to celebrate that 90th birthday. Neat. So fans are excited. They've been waiting for it for a while.
John, we got something for you here, right?
Boy, when you're out on the road,
you guys are too nice to me. Yeah,
Jimmy's Egg.
Thank you very much.
And look at this. Nancy Smoot, our general manager, has another breakfast for us. He's already had one breakfast already this morning. What do we have here, Nancy?
We have the queso burrito. It has sausage, onions, tomatoes, potatoes, green onions, green chilies, topped with white queso.
Jump in here, buddy.
Okay.
And I got to talk about
you guys are too nice to me.
Nancy. Your loyalty reward thing. Also, your double punch Tuesday. What's going on here, Jimmy's Egg?
Okay, that's a punch card that you have on your phone. Right. You get it punched 10 times. Your 11th meal is free, and you get a double punch on Tuesday. So if you come in a couple Tuesdays, you save a couple of punches.
Wow, I tell you, well, again, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. And what's good about the menu, you can get the menu any time of the day or
anytime, anything on the menu from 6 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon, which are the hours we're open.
What do you think, John?
Unbelievable. So good. Thank you.
And look at this. Coach Todd got himself a cinnamon roll, huh?
I'm going to get this cinnamon roll right now, I'm going to tell you.
Stay with us. He got a good friend of his. Tony Winters is coming in, and some fascinating history, right? Oklahoma Mabee Center.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to that. Sorry, Gil's got to eat here. Right back at Jimmy's Egg, Oklahoma Sportscene. Stay with us.
Welcome to Jimmy's Egg. Come on in.
For more than 30 years, Jimmy's Egg has been starting people's day off right with hot, fresh, made-to-order food. Our eggs are fresh, cracked to order every time, and there are over 40,000 ways to craft your own omelet. With signature favorites like our meat lovers skillet or decadent cinnamon roll pancakes, you won't leave hungry. Breakfast and lunch is available every day from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., so stop in today and let our friendly staff serve you.
Stop by and see us sometime.
We're on,
we're back.
We're on.
I didn't know we were back. Well, I'll tell you what, I've got a great friend here today, a guy we work with a lot, a record-holding soccer player at Oral Roberts, and the general manager of the Mabee Center, our good friend Tony Winters.
Gils, pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me on.
We're glad to have you.
I'm glad to be here. Delicious breakfast here this morning, Eggs Benedict. Can't get better than that.
Can't beat it.
Not a South Tulsa accent.
Not a South
Give us your
Tulsa.
background.
I am from Liverpool, England. Almost everybody in America thinks I'm Australian. It's because people in Liverpool have such a different accent. Our accent is very different because it's like Boston. Almost everybody from Liverpool is Irish or Irish descent. So our accent is totally different than everybody else's in England. But of course, we're fiercely proud of being from Liverpool. So. But I've lived in Oklahoma since 1989, so I really feel like Tulsa is home.
What attracted you to make the trip over to Oral Roberts University?
I was a customs and excise officer in Liverpool, and I got my coaching license. I was pretty young, and I decided to travel, and I got a job coaching soccer in Philadelphia. And somebody from ORU saw me playing for an all-star team, and ORU recruited me, and then. I made the all district teams and things like that, and they made me the captain. And then, 4 years later, I got a job at the Mabee Center, and that's how sorts of things happened.
What was your first job at the Mabee Center?
My first job was I worked on the tech crew, so I operated the spotlights and built staging and did all of that stuff. So
you've been from the bottom up?
I've been from the very bottom. I started as the lowest on the ladder, and I've done just about every job in between.
Wow.
And I just love working there. I love my staff. ORU is one of the greatest places you could work at. Just have great people that work with me. It's just a pleasure. And I work with great guys like you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course, I've known JV for I've known JV for a very long time. We've been friends.
I couldn't help but think, but Oral Roberts was very fond of you.
He was.
He did things that I think helped you, and as a result, you have become an Okie.
I'm a funny talking Okie, but yes, but I'll take it. I'm an Okie. I'm a proud Okie. I support everything that's Oklahoma.
We're so proud of the Mabee Center. That place looks as great now as it did before. So many great events throughout the years here in Tulsa. Been at the Mabee Center.
We're in a really fast-changing world in our business. But what's amazing to me is. An awful lot of our business was taken by the BOK and some of the casinos and everything else, but everything has been replaced. We are as busy today as we ever have been. Obviously, basketball is our core. We're a basketball arena, but we do cheerleading events and speaking events and political events. We just had Mike Pence here. It's amazing. It's a great place to work. And I feel very blessed to have the events like the Tournament of Champions that we've got coming up here in a couple of weeks' time. To work with some of the people here in the States is just a pleasure. Just a pleasure.
I tell you, the Mabee Center, and I don't say that because you're here, our feelings toward the Mabee Center, and we work very well. It's amazing, really, that we put on that 3-day event. We're there 14 hours a day for those 3 days, and it's like a vacation because the staff is so good to work with, and we really enjoy having that opportunity to work with Tony and keep that tournament in a class facility that hosts the 5- and 6A state championship almost every year.
Yeah, we actually just, we didn't really announce it very well, but we did just sign a new 3-year deal with the state. That will be our, what will that be? That will be our 10th, 11th, and 12th year in a row of doing the state championship. Love working with David Jackson. David Jackson is one of the most quality people you would ever come across. And we have a similar relationship with Tulsa Public Schools and Gill. We just love working with them. In a lot of ways, it's like putting on a whole season in 3 days.
Right.
We do 24 games in 3 days. And honestly, and I'm not just saying this, but I actually think it's the greatest tournament that there is. If you think of every great sports movie there is, it's always about the underdog. Cinderella Man, it's always about the underdog. Well, this tournament gives the underdog the opportunity. Here you go. Here's a big boy. And every single year, Chris, every year there's an upset. We've seen some of the greatest games, some of the greatest upsets. If you love high school basketball, you need to come to the Tournament
What a
of
great
Champions.
segue, our next segment, right?
Absolutely.
Mick
You
Wilson's
bet.
going to join us.
Mick
Wilson, Tournament champions. You've already had your eggs Benedict, right?
I've already had my eggs Benedict.
Come back anytime, Tony. You want to come back to Jimmy's Egg?
I
there
love
you go.
Jimmy's Egg. Jimmy's Egg is a great place to come. Thank you, guys. I will definitely use it.
24 years as general manager, this young man from Liverpool, England. Great to have him with us here, and thanks for joining us on Oklahoma Sportscene.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
It's a pleasure.
Take care now.
Cheers.
Cheers. That was good.
Cheers.
One.
Yeah, very good.
On the
Very
Barbie?
good.
That's the other
No,
one,
that's the
right?
Australian one. All right, thank you,
Gil,
guys.
back to your center role.
I hope he's going to share that.
Yeah, I don't
No,
think
I'm
so.
not.
Mick Wilson coming straight ahead to talk more about the Tournament of Champions on Oklahoma Sportscene. Pretty good, huh?
Two Triple Crowns in the last 4 years have reawakened America to the magnificent thoroughbred. And now, we've got our own triple to celebrate. 3 decades of excitement. Don't miss the final stretch of Remington's 30th thoroughbred season with 2 special race days. Plus your chance at hot bets and bigger money bingo during the season closer and 400 grand springboard mile December 16th. Remington's 30th, thoroughly thrilling.
At Robertson Tire, we'll match any deal you find on tires, but customer service remains at the core of our business. That's why we've been voted the very best in all 3 major area publications. Thank you for choosing Robertson Tire for all your auto care needs.
Welcome back to Jimmy's Egg and Oklahoma Sportscene, where we're going to now talk about the 54th annual Tournament of Champions. And we have the tournament director, our assistant athletics director for compliance for Tulsa Public Schools, Mick Wilson. Mick, welcome to Sportscene.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me today.
And we just had Tony Winters on, Roberts University Mabee Center, and he gave the best build-up ever for this tournament, didn't he?
Absolutely. Of course, they love us at the Mabee Center, and they love the OSSAA at the Mabee Center as well.
They do. It's we're good clients of those guys, and they do a fantastic job hosting any event, especially basketball tournaments. They do a great job, and we're excited to be out there again this year.
He was pointing out that what makes this tournament so special, Gil, great, brilliant format, is the little guy gets a chance to be a giant killer. It's kind of a Hoosiers type thing. Talk about that and how it's gone through the history of this event.
Well, it's such a great event to be able to showcase some of your smaller schools that have good teams.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets to help solve the argument of who really the best team in the state is, and I think this year is going to be no exception. We literally have nearly every number 1 ranked team in each classification.
Wow.
So we're going to match everyone up. But that David and Goliath format goes back to Doug Duggar, and what a innovator he was, in, coming up with a basketball tournament back in the mid 60s to get this thing going. And of course, JV, Terrell Lester, we were talking about off the air, of helping perpetuate this thing along has been fantastic. But this year will be no different. It's going to be a great matchup. It's going to just be a great tournament. We're excited to see some of these teams.
And Coach Haney, you were there for the first one, right? 54 years ago.
In the spring of 1966, that's when we played it in January.
Right.
We came in from Seminole and got beat by a Class C ball club. And that really kind of set the stage, I think, for the Tournament of Champions, because you just can't find any better of the small schools playing the large schools than the Tournament of Champions. And this year, Mick, I'm telling you, I don't know how you've done it, but that is incredible.
Well, we spend a lot of time researching and calling a lot of coaches. Not only do I talk to a lot of high school coaches in the area, but I also call our college coaches, because we not only want to showcase the best teams, but a lot of times some of the best teams have some of the marquee players in the state. So you want to showcase those people as well. So I spent a lot of time doing some research, and this year we just happened to get lucky to have that many number 1 teams pre-season lined up to battle it out. It's going to be really interesting to see how this works.
Talk about your boys bracket first here, Mick.
Oh gosh, I tell you, the team that seems to be the wild card that everyone wants to see, argumentatively the best team in the state, we keep hearing is Kingfisher. The Kingfisher boys are fantastic, coming off a state championship last year, ranked number 1 in 4A, and their coach has made it clear that he's not afraid to play anyone anywhere with this group of boys that he has right now. So it's going to be real interesting to see. They get number 1 in 3A Kingston the first round. I think that'll be really fun to watch. And then if Kingfisher's able to advance, then they're probably going to get they'll have a shot at Booker T. Washington if they hold on and beat Whitesboro, who was preseason number 1 in Class B, who has moved up to A, by the way. We didn't see that coming. That happened with ADM and kind of after the fact.
Right.
But it's going to be interesting to see what Kingfisher can do. I know that Shay Seals and I talked this summer. I ran into each other a couple times. He said, "Hey, Mick, tell me you've got Kingfisher in the Tournament of Champions." I said, I have them. And he said, "Wow, what a great choice." So I know there's a lot of college coaches that are high on some of their players as well.
There always are college coaches that come, but I think this year, because of the ranking of the great teams that we've got and some of the tough individuals that we have, I mean, Memorial themselves may have 4 Division I. We know they have 2 that are signed early, and they have 2 more. And then, of course, Booker T has 2 or 3. And then the Kingfisher has maybe the best player in the state. What a great opportunity for people to really enjoy basketball all day long.
Oh, Gillen, and out of all that, we didn't even mention Putnam City West, who's now number 1.
Yeah.
Preseason Booker T was number 1, and Putnam City has moved ahead of them in the votes this last polling. So it's going to be interesting to see Putnam City West. I mean, they're going to bring as good a team as anybody in the state in. So I think we're going to get a good idea of who really the best boys team is in the state this year.
What did the Putnam City West coach say when he came to our press conference?
Well, it's funny, Chris, because he came in, and I told JB and Gil that he looked around, and we had all the media and everything organized and ready to go. He said, "You know, I know you've been after me to come to this tournament." He goes, "But this is legit."
It is. I think everybody in Tulsa, is hoping you did a great job keeping them separated at bracket. A possible Memorial Booker T finals would be incredible on Saturday night.
Well, we've had that a few times, but we would take that again this year if it turns out that way.
And the dates coming up, of course, and the ticket information too?
We do. It'll be December 27, 28, and 29, and tickets are on sale now online. Up until December 26th, you can actually get an all tournament pass for $40, which is probably about a 45% savings off. So if people will get online and go to the MabeeCenter.com, they'll be able to get tickets and purchase those ahead of time.
And we got some good girls teams.
Yeah, talk about the girls.
We really do. The girls team is going to be. There's a couple of games I'm really excited to see. In fact, I was kind of looking through the bracket here as we were talking, but I tell you, there's 2 games that I'm excited to watch, and that's the Edmond Memorial and Victory Christian.
Yeah.
The Victory Christian girls are really good, and Ryan Wakely moving over and coaching the girls this year rather than the boys will be interesting. His daughter's a heck of a player, so I'm excited to see that game. And I'm telling you what, Bixby and Tahlequah Sequoia will be a barn burner in that first round, and I'm sure the Bixby coaches probably aren't happy with me after they saw the bracket. But I'm going to tell you right now, Tahlequah Sequoia is probably a lot like Kingfisher this year. People think they might be the best team in the state, and they're pretty good. And my old friend Larry Callison is the head coach there, and he does a fantastic job.
Just basketball morning to night, right? Talk about the times.
24/7. You can go do the basketball that you want, but no, we'll start each day off at 9 o'clock in the morning, and we'll run right through till probably almost 10 o'clock at night. And barring any double and triple overtimes, we'll try to get out of there early. But it's been 3 or 4 years ago, Gil. We rang New Year's in watching.
We were there for 2 years.
A triple overtime game. A triple overtime game between Wasso and Memorial. And that's Shake Milton, who's now with the Philadelphia 76ers.
We got good news for you because Jimmy's Egg opens at 6 a.m. You can come in for breakfast before the tournament, right?
Before the tournament.
There you go, Mick.
Wow, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, congratulations again, Mick. Fantastic.
Thanks again, guys, for having me.
Tournament champions, December 27th, 28th, 29th at the ORU Mabee Center. Basketball nonstop, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Great matchup. Get out and supporting me. Great time, Bill.
Absolutely, and the proceeds all go to Tulsa Public Schools.
All right, back in more on Sports Scene.
Welcome to Jimmy's Egg. Come on in.
For more than 30 years, Jimmy's Egg has been starting people's day off right with hot, fresh, made-to-order food. Our eggs are fresh, cracked to order every time, and there are over 40,000 ways to craft your own omelet. With signature favorites like our meat lover's skillet or decadent cinnamon roll pancakes, you won't leave hungry. Breakfast and lunch is available every day from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., so stop in today and let our friendly staff serve you.
Stop by and see us sometime.
wrap things up before we have breakfast here at Jimmy's Egg at the Oklahoma Sports Scene with Gil Cloud starting us off with parting shots.
We have two new coaches right now in the Big 12. Les Miles goes to Kansas, and ironically, the sister institution, Kansas State, hired Chris Kleiman. It's interesting that Les Miles, after having been in the SEC and been the head coach at Oklahoma State and then at LSU, goes back to the Big 12 in a program that has really been beguiled for many, many years. And it'll be an interesting turnaround. The other interesting case is the K-State coach, Chris Kleiman. Chris Kleiman, an Iowa guy that I ran into when I was in Iowa. He was a Division III head coach, and then, of course, coached at Northern Iowa, where he played at Northern Iowa. And then since he's been at North Dakota, has done an outstanding job with the national championships up there. They'll be playing for their 5th national championship this next weekend. It's interesting to note that one of the reasons that Seth Luttrell did not take the job, the head coach at the University of North Texas, was, and my information is, that he was told he could not bring his coordinators with him. I hope, in fact, that's not true for Chris Kleiman. And good luck to both of those new coaches in the Big 12.
My closing shot is on professional. I grew up and everyone was wanting to become a professional baseball player, a professional football, professional basketball, whatever it might be. But you were a professional person. You dress, you act, and all of your conduct was professional. As I look at this today, now it may be because of my age, and if so, and you disagree, that's fine. But it just appears to me that the professional people in sports should conduct themselves as professionals. Now, I don't think they do. What do you think?
Well, the college national semifinals come December 29th. You all know the matchups and stuff. And already people are talking about, hey, we need more than 4 teams. We don't need a Final 4. We need a Final 8. Well, the reason they're 4 right now is ESPN signed the contract a few years ago for $5.64 billion. Billion dollars. That was from 2014, running through the 12-year contract. But now they're saying let's push for an 8-team league. What that would mean is 2 models are out there. One, take the Power 5 conference champions, Big 12, Big 10, SEC, Southeastern Conference, Pac-12, Atlantic Coast, and then add a group of 5 champion, like, for instance, the Tulsa's conference, the American Athletic Conference. That would be, of course, meaning 12-0, unbeaten Central Florida in the game now. Now, the other model for 8-team playoff is take the top 8 ranked teams in the first final college football playoff poll. This year, that'd be Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and Central Florida being added to those 4 teams. Why would they expand from 4 to 8? Simple, dollars. That would probably mean rights fees of $10.5 billion to the college football playoffs. It's going to happen, believe me. All right, guys, we're going to have a special kind of a recap holiday time of the month of December for us the next show.
Looking forward to that, Chris. I think our fans will too. The first show on the 24th we'll tape, comes out on the 26th, the day after Christmas, will be the highlights from December. And then the next one that comes out on the 31st, or we tape on the 31st, will come out on the 2nd, will be the highlights from the year.
Looking forward to it. Hey, have a great holiday season. Thanks for joining us on Oklahoma Sports Scene.